Whoever has made a voyage up the Hudson must remember the Catskill Mountains. They are a dismembered branch of the great Appalachian family and are seen away to the west of the river, swelling up to a noble height and lording it over the surrounding country. Every change of season, every change of weather, indeed every hour of the day, produces some change in the magical hues and shapes of these mountains, and they are regarded by all the good wives, far and near, as perfect barometers. When the weather is fair and settled, they are clothed in blue and purple, and print their bold outlines in the clear evening sky. But sometimes, when the rest of the landscape is cloudless, they will gather a hood of gray vapors about their summits. Rip Van Winkle by Washington Irving. Welcome back to this week's episode. This is your ghost of a host with the most, Shanna.
Hi.
Sup?
It's me.
We have special guests tonight.
It's PukwuPJ.
No, you're not invited.
Oh.
Go and get
Dang it.
Who's here tonight?
I am.
Tom.
What?
What?
Tom. Hey, it's Carrie.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Back. I'm back. Not just Carrie, our paranormal expert, Carrie.
I'm an expert.
You have accepted the position that comes with a great pay increase of $0.00.
I do it.
We doubled your previous salary.
Yeah.
1,000% increase.
She couldn't say no.
I never say no to you.
We offered coffee. Oh, wait, you brought that. We
Listen,
offered board games.
Oh, you brought those too.
We offered a table to play at.
Yes. No, this is cool. I love it here.
Wonderful.
I love it here.
Love discussing scary things. So what are we discussing tonight, Carrie?
Well, we're going to talk about the Catskill Mountains.
You people, Catskill?
Catskill
Boy, oh,
Mountains. Sorry, I'm from New York.
I love making fun of you. Down here, we say Catskill Mountains, and we spell it cat and skill.
That cat's got skill.
This cat got skills. Hey, the cats are following me all over the place, aren't they?
It's true, they are. Watch out. At least it's not PukwuPJs. We're good. Shagangungun Mountains. I love how you're from the area. We had to call your mom to ask how to pronounce a word, and we still have no idea. I looked it up on YouTube, and then I looked it up on Google.
Then we hit the Shongong bloody Shwang.
Shongong.
Yeah, see, it is just the mountain.
It's fine. We got it. It's someplace.
It's the place. Yeah, so the Catskill Mountains. I grew up in that neck of the woods.
Aren't you so excited for this? I've been branching out away from Pennsylvania for the past couple episodes, and I'm embracing the UFO stuff, but I'm going to go back to my roots tonight and discuss poltergeists and like murder and mayhem.
Murder.
Exactly. A most foul murder. Mayhem. And you can discuss the UFOs and aliens.
Sure, why not?
Right. So tonight we focus on the state where Carrie and Tom are from, New York.
New York, New York.
Apparently it's upstate New York, which
Go
I
ahead,
disagree
honey.
with. I do not understand.
Everything is upstate if you're north of New York City.
Yeah, that's not New York City.
What was it? It's upstate New York from wherever you're from?
Right. That's the
whatever.
other thing. Upstate is north of wherever you happen to live.
Because like I was looking at the map and I'm like, well, we can't discuss this because it's not in upstate New York. And Carrie kept saying she's in upstate New York. And then I asked him like, well, that I could have done a whole bunch of stuff tonight.
Yeah,
and I know that upstate meant the bottom of the state.
If it has nothing, if it's not New York City,
Or Long
Manhattan,
Island.
or Long Island, that whole neck of the woods, also it's considered upstate.
That's crazy. Well, the good news
Once you
is-
cross the George Washington Bridge, once you go through the tunnel, or right?
Once you're north of the Bronx. Yeah.
Once you're north of the Bronx.
That's crazy. Is it because you're no longer like in cities?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
the pretty part, the non-stinky parts.
Yeah. It's like basically if you live outside of New York City or Long Island, you don't matter. So you're just upstate.
Oh, you're collective. The people who weren't good enough to be here got it. They weren't invited. So the cool thing about your area is you have UFO sightings. You have weird lights in the sky, just in general. Little people, the PukwuPJs of the world. You have poltergeists.
Excuse me.
And murder. It was a reference to PukwuPJ's, not to you being short, but if the shoe fits. Oh, wait, you're not wearing a shoe.
I'm wearing a shoe.
How's your broken foot doing?
I mean, it's getting there.
No.
Every week I make sure to mention his broken foot in some way.
Well, you guys already did an episode about the Catskills.
Yes, we did. The Crone.
Yep, up by Blue Hole.
That was all actually PJ's idea.
Yep.
We decided to branch out. He was like, we got to do this.
That was our first episode that wasn't about our stories. That was our first.
Oh, that, right.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was the Dybbuk box.
We did all of our stories and then we did the Crone.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. I thought that we did like the Dybbuk box, but no, it's right. Jack was here.
Yeah.
I like how you know more about my podcast than I do.
Because it was my podcast. You took it from me.
Whoa.
That is about...
That was my Lochnar.
Well, it was nice having you here. You guys can go home now. This is awkward.
So that was it's about 10, 15 minutes from where I grew up.
That's
My
crazy.
uncle lives right at the bottom of that mountain. You start to climb up the mountain from sundown, New York. And my uncle owned a little fish and bait tackle place. So that would be the first stop for you if you were going to go camping or fishing up there. You just climb up the mountain. The waterfalls are gorgeous. They call it Blue Hole because the water is, you look at it and it's just like crystal clear, beautiful water, but it's deep. I couldn't even tell you how deep it is. It's like, it seems like it's deeper than the ocean. You can never touch the ground. You can do camping up there. And of course the trails that lead to the little caves and it's gorgeous up there. It's not a hidden secret anymore. It used to be a big hidden secret. So it's a lot of tourists up there now, but it's still absolutely gorgeous. And it's right by the New York State Reservoir where everybody from the city gets their water.
So
Not
if you
water.
spit in it, they get their water.
Not their water, but the water.
Ugh. It's water here.
Water.
I was saying to Carrie earlier, if you're in Philly, it's Wooder.
It is water. Yeah. We have a friend, Rob, who's from Philly, and he goes, hey, how's your water? I'm like, what? We just pick on him now because he pronounces it that way.
You know, get washed.
The washer, yeah.
My problem is that my parents grew up in the city. So, and I grew up strictly in the country. So I have their accent or certain words, but also like the country side of me too with the words. So I'm this weird mix of weirdness.
Yeah,
Weird words.
It was like a weird mix for me because I grew up until I was about 13 years old in New York City, and then my parents moved up to upstate New York. So it's like sort of the same deal, but in a different way.
Yeah, I wouldn't guess that you're from New York based on your accent, Tom. You sound like one of us. Although my accent's fake, so I'm from New Hampshire, so when I get really tired, you'll hear my accent pop out. But anyway, so we know the Catskill Mountains and the Hudson Valley. We're talking about those two areas. Yes. They're rife with paranormal stories. So I chose two that I found to be really creepy and fun. And I actually have some EVPs that you and I found together. Yes. And then you're going to take over some UFOs because your mama gave you a story.
My mother.
Yeah, mother. I heard her talking. Although there was a creepy thing today. So,
oh my gosh,
Carrie had called because we were stopping up. We were at Aldi's getting groceries, right? Oh, and you were calling about food.
Yeah.
And I was talking about chicken nuggets, and then
I was like, oh, we can just get some chicken wings. We can all share them. And then all of a sudden, I hear my mother's voice, and she goes, "You're gonna share them with me?" And I'm like, "What?" And then it was gone. And I look at my phone. I'm like, what? And I go, I just heard my mother.
Yeah, I heard it too. From
yes, it was the strangest thing in the world. And then, of course, I called my mother back and she was like, what are you talking about? That wasn't me. What do you mean?
And she cracks up laughing.
Yeah.
Go, please. Oh, mother.
So somehow she got into our phone call.
It's never happened before.
Yeah,
ever
nice
for me.
I don't know if she was calling and maybe your cheek hit the call waiting answer, right, and just... I don't know.
She popped
she was
in.
like, I thought you were talking to Tom or John about...
No, but I heard it too. So it was like almost like a conference call.
Oh, real?
You did hear it? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe did you hit like the join merge calls?
I don't know how to do that.
Unless no, it was the ghost. From upstate New York. Upstate lower state New York.
I'm wondering if you're going to mention a certain UFO incident from the 80s.
I am not.
Oh, okay.
Which one?
So you'll be in charge. Keep it a secret.
Is it the one that, do you want me to keep it a secret? Because I'm not, I mean, it's not like.
It's over a highway.
Route 17?
I don't know. It's been years since I heard of it. but I can give the broad strokes of.
Okay, because I was talking
when we get to
that. Because I think I talked to you yesterday about the book Communion and how that guy was from up there, and but it wasn't that. Okay.
Well, I'm not discussing UFOs, so anyway. So one well-known paranormal location is the Hinsdale House, and it's located in, no surprise, Hinsdale, New York. So I actually went on the Facebook page of the Hinsdale House Restoration Project because since they've been restoring the house and using it as like a bed and breakfast, they've had people, of course, who have stayed there, and they've been seeing a certain creature. So people like Tom ask, what's a PukwuPJ? And they're right here. They're called PJs. No, PJ introduced us to PukwuPJ when we discussed the Bridgewater Triangle. Mm-hmm. And so he adorably, Tom, says, hello, my name is PukwuPJ. And so it just became his tagline for this show
it's just
now.
Stuck.
It's stuck. But a PukwuPJ, it's spelled PukwuPJ, but it's pronounced PukwuPJ. It is supposed to be translated as little man of the woods that vanishes. So imagine like a 4-foot tall dude, okay? It's a human-like creature found in Delaware and Wampanoag folklore, and it's sometimes said to be 4 to 5 feet tall. I'm 5'4", so I can't be a PukwuPJ, and PJ is 5'6".
Yep.
So he can't be a PukwuPJ.
I'm 5'5" on a good day.
Hooray! So you're also not one. Sophie is. Yeah, we found it.
How about John?
He'll never be a PukwuPJ. He's a Bigfoot.
Ain't that so?
Oh, yeah.
According to the Hinsdale House Restoration Project, according to legend, PukwuPJs can appear and disappear at will, lure people to their deaths, use magic, launch poison arrows, and create fire.
I bring you.
Yes. Native Americans believe that PukwuPJs were once friendly to humans, but then they turned against them, and they are best left alone. You should not touch them. But according to lore, a person who annoys a PukwuPJ would be subject to nasty tricks by it, or subject to being followed by the PukwuPJ, who would cause trouble for them. They are known to kidnap people, push them off cliffs, attack their victims with short knives and spears, and to use sand to blind their victims. Yes, and of course in Wikipedia too, there are different interpretations of what a PukwuPJ can look like. So some people think that it looks like a little man. Others see like an Ewok kind of thing.
Yeah, I was looking at a picture. I was like, that looks like the thing from Star Wars.
So why are we discussing a PukwuPJ? Because with the legends of a hanging tree, a pond that has claimed at least one life, and hills that are said to hold the graves of countless people, the Hinsdale House may very well be the most haunted of houses in western New York, and it includes sightings of the PukwuPJ on its campus. So there was a story that some visitors took pictures of this thing out in the field beyond the house, and it looks like a PukwuPJ. So I wouldn't want to go there. I'm just saying they might get you. But anyway. So Tom, do you want to meet a PukwuPJ? Maybe.
Not
Sure.
today.
Sure.
You want to be one?
Kier.
No, be one. I thought you said meet one.
Oh, I thought you said be one.
Kier. You watch you.
Oh.
Kier.
Oh, that story creeps me out still. Anyway.
But they're kind of cute. When you, okay. They look like the thing from Star Wars. And those things are really, really cute. The Ewoks.
Ewoks, yeah.
But these want to kill you.
Kier.
Bad PukwuPJ. Bad.
I mean, you just punt it, right?
Yeah.
And it'll just...
It's not that small. You'd break your toe. You gotta be careful.
Yeah. What's another one?
I thought you didn't break those.
Was that
No,
a
I
UFO?
didn't.
No, it was
A PukwuPJ.
Kier.
I'll get you.
Iwachu.
Revenge.
But that's why I used the quote from Rip Van Winkle, because in that story, he's taken up to the mountains, of course, and these little people lure him with some booze. He drinks it, and he's out for 20 years. So, and that was in the Catskills.
Catskills.
Yeah, sure, according to your language. But anyway, so the current owner of the Hinsdale House, his name is Dan Clace. He says, So it's not just PukwuPJs, though. It is ghosts and poltergeists, too. So according to owner Dan Clace, he says it's not just one story, but the one that made it most famous. It was a story during the 1970s. A family started having poltergeist-like activity in the house. You ready for some poltergeist stories? Always. So Clara and Phil Dandy lived in the house along with their children. Their names were Mike, who was 17.
Hey,
Beth,
Mike.
Beth, who was 16. Laura, age 12. And Mary, aged 11. So again, it's from July of 1973 to October of 1974. So a little over a year. It's like a 16-month period total. Okay. So Miss Miller, the mother, tells the story of dancing ghosts, unexplainable choirs singing in the woods, and also voices and chanting.
He's so obnoxious.
Shut up out there. And a young, dark-haired woman walking around their house.
That was me.
I knew it. 1974? Wait a second. You're not... No.
Time travel.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Liminal spaces. That's right. I knew it. So the story of the black-haired lady then, because you say it's you. So according to the story, Beth, her eldest of daughters, was stepping onto a chair and she was hanging up a bird cage in her room. And then she happened to see the face of a woman with long, dark hair in the window looking at her. So of course she screams.
And it said 7 days.
Oh my God.
Or went...
Get off the chair, you're going to fall.
Stupid movie.
Sorry. But it's just like...
Yeah.
There it is. Barely anything coming out of your throat. You're so good at it. It's kind of creepy. Anyway, so her mother, Clara, comes running into the room and she finds Beth crying and shaking on her bed. And Beth screamed, "She's in the window, don't look." So, of course, Clara looks. But Beth described the woman as having big, dark eyes and filthy or wet hair. The woman had a pasty complexion and she looked dead.
Me.
There it is. And she was seen multiple times, but walking around the house. Almost like she couldn't get in, but she's like, "I'm watching you. Got my eye on you." Carrie, stop scaring the neighbors.
I'm sorry.
I wish I knew how doorknobs work.
So her hair was wet.
Or dirty or both. And there is a pond up there, you said,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, there's many.
Should have washed her hair in the pond.
She shouldn't have fallen in the hole that never ends. This is the hole
Hole
that
that
never
never
ends.
I'm digging a hole.
No!
Dig hole.
What is happening to my show?
Sorry.
Anyway.
I had coffee. I had 3 cups.
You really drank your coffee, not my coffee.
I had 3 cups of tea.
Anyway, so Mike, again, the eldest of their children
Mike,
and the
Mike,
only
Mike,
boy, Mike, he had issues in the house as well. So at first, nothing had happened to him, so he didn't really believe that his sister saw anything.
Y'all are crazy.
Exactly, because he was having a decent life. But on the night of July 4th, 1973, that all changed. Mike was asleep in his room when he felt something hit his chest.
He felt the 4th.
I was just going to say, was it fireworks?
Felt the 4th on his chest.
Seconds later, he felt another object hit his chest.
Ow, my chest.
When he looked around, he realized that 2 board games from the shelf above his bed had fallen on top of him.
That sounds risky.
Oh. Wait. Where's the clap thing? Or whatever it's called. Yeah.
You're editing this episode.
She got a life.
I refuse to edit now. It's your podcast.
Are you suggesting I'm trying to take a monopoly over this podcast?
Oh my gosh.
Why?
Oh.
Delayed response. Tom.
My cognitive processing speed is not the fastest.
Penny, save me. If you're listening, which I know you are.
Penny, is it a triangle?
It's a trapezoid.
It's a trapezoid. A trapezoid.
Oh, it reminds me. I'm supposed to tell you from Penny. She knows what simple shapes are.
I know, I defended her.
And that's what I told her.
She's telling you this.
No, Timmy, I don't know. So anyway, back to the board games. I thought you would find this story interesting, all 3 of you, because you're board game aficionados. So he's confused because why are the board games attacking?
Who are the aficionados? Guess who?
But then...
Oh, hey!
But then Mike remembered that the games were on the bottom of the pile on his shelf, so he knew that they could not have fallen on their own. So up to that point, again, he'd been intrigued by the stories from like Beth and his mom and whatnot, but nothing had happened. So at that point, he's like, oh crap, it's real. And he actually became frightened.
So doesn't have the game stacked sideways, does he?
Nope, he should have learned.
Did he become horrified?
Oh, what? This is not Games Overboard. Please remove yourselves. I will do this episode with just Carrie. So anyway, a few months later, though, for Mike, he and a friend went exploring in the woods in the Catskills Mountains,
Catskills.
There you go. And they saw a mysterious set of lights in the trees. So they followed this light, but it disappeared, almost like it was just kind of drawing them out into the woods. And then they felt cold spots, just like super, super cold, and they could see their breath pretty much. So at that point, Mike is freaked out, and he just runs home. He's like, nah, I'm out. And again, this kid is like an adult almost at this point. So for him to be, that age and running back, it showcases that there was abject fear. So he became fearful. That's something to fault him, though, because when he runs in the house, he slams the door, locks it, and he's like, Mom, guess what happened? But I believe that whatever was out there, it followed me home. Like he felt that he was being followed. So just at that point, Clara and... What were you going to say?
Like, I could hear it going behind me the whole way home.
It was the Jabberwock. He's just galumphing along. Anyway, so, but just as he says, Mom, something's following me home, they hear this, the back door of the back door open, and then it slams shut. And again, he knew that he had locked it. So then you have a kid who's really frightened. He's like, I locked that door because something followed me, but now it's opening the door too. So it wasn't the black-haired lady, because obviously she can't open doors, but something else can.
Okay.
So it wasn't Carrie.
That's terrifying.
I'm sorry. Doors are hard.
Yeah.
Let's go shopping.
Difficult. So, in general, though, the activity got so bad, the poltergeist activity got so bad, that they actually called Father Alphonsus, a priest from St. Bonaventure University, to come help. So according to Clace, again, the current owner, he said that the priest performed a structural exorcism, which we know about. We've had that done.
Yep.
But to quote him, Clace said, the house started shaking and it sounded like a crying noise, a screaming noise, coming out of the windows. Needless to say, the exorcism did not work.
All the way to the wall.
Do not push that button. Anyway, so the exorcism doesn't work. And in October of 1974, the family just moves. They're like, yeah, no, we're out. So 16 months and they're out of that house. So the house has gone through many owners. But Clace, one of the current owners, he is also the co-founder of the Greater WNY Paranormal Society, which I'm assuming you're probably a part of, Carrie. But anyway.
No, I'm the black-haired lady.
I knew it. I knew it. But he believes the paranormal activity for the Hinsdale goes back to 1799 because there was an Indian massacre there. So with all that blood on the land, and then, of course, the unmarked graves from that, he's like, obviously, you already have some bad juju going on. Now, connected to the idea that there's some kind of Indian, resonance, Mary Ball runs tours around that area, especially for the Hinsdale. And she had an experience that supports Clace's theory about the Indian massacre. She said, my son, who was handicapped, was sitting on the bed one night. He didn't know the stories about the house. He just knew it was haunted. He looked out that window and saw his dad standing out by the fire. And he looked at me and he said, who is the angry Indian staring at Daddy? So, the Hinsdale, has a deep Native American heritage built on the blood loss of many men and women from that. So I think with that, when you have that negative energy, of course, it's going to pull other things. And we've already discussed that many times on our podcast. But the horrific stories do not end there. During the 1800s, there were stories of a pair of brothers who lived there, and they raided passing stagecoaches. They would rob and kill the occupants, and then they'd bury them, either in the cellar or in the hills behind the house.
Oh, the Catskill Mountains.
Wow.
It's wonderful. But Clace says that the tortured past seems to echo today in many manifestations, including shadow figures, electronic voice phenomenon, objects moving, and even full-bodied apparitions. So if you stay there, there's a really good possibility of catching something on your phone or on recordings, and you can find a whole bunch of those videos online. But I was talking about PukwuPJs. So back to that. The Hinsdale has had many reports of these little men So according to the Hinsdale workers, many guests at their house believe they've seen a PukwuPJ on the property. And again, they've taken pictures. But it's really cool considering the Rip and Winkle takes place in the Catskill Mountains. And that guy had been lured out there. His dog, dog leaves because this guy's sleeping for 20 years, wakes up to rusted everything, goes back home and no one knows who he is. Yeah. So I just, we hear about the PukwuPJ in the Bridgewater Triangle, and it tends to be up north, but the Wampanoag, were a part of that in this area, and as were the Algonquins. So I wouldn't be surprised to find the PukwuPJ in the Catskill Mountains.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to find anything in the Catskill Mountains. It's kind of like the Pine Barrens. It's like deep and just, you can get lost forever. Those woods are crazy.
Maybe that's why the crone is haunted. Maybe she got lost out there and she's just sad. She just needs a hug. She's covered in nails, so you can't really hug her, but...
So, about the crone, why would it smell like pond water? The spirit that haunts the crone.
Oh, well,
you said there are lots of bodies of water up there, right?
Oh, yes. It's my mind drew a blank. There is a lot of waterfalls up there, streams, a lot of moving water. So many waterfalls. The waterfalls are so gorgeous there. I've taken you up by the waterfalls before. What is the name of the road?
I don't remember.
Wow. I haven't been home in a long time. The Peekamoose. Okay. So, it was probably in the water. I mean, the water, it's the Catskill Mountains still. So there's a lot of trails and it's a lot of mountains. Tons. So when you start climbing up the road, Peekamoose Road, it's very curvy. The roads start off wide and then they get smaller and smaller and smaller. And along the whole path is a river stream, and it's going, well, when you're going up it's going up, but it's really coming down because gravity.
What?
It does run into the New York State Reservoir.
Okay.
I don't know exactly where it was found.
Yeah.
It was up in a mountain in a cave.
Right. And even the hikers, they don't know exactly where that cave was, like, to return it, and things like that. So
right. So there is tons of water, and it comes off the mountain, off the cliffs, off the caves. So it unless somebody found it in the water, like I said, that water there's big pockets of holes, blue hole, and it's so deep. Who knows what's down there? Yeah. It is deep. I sent you that picture of the bone I found. It was like this big. It was huge. Maybe what 2 feet long?
Yeah, about 2 feet.
And it was the same year where those people found the thing.
Crone.
Thank you. I know.
And you said a lot of crazy stuff happens up there anyway.
Oh, yeah. That place is...
It's kind of like the Alvaro bunkers.
Oh,
crazy stuff going on
and
there.
You can get lost. So lost up there. It's... And it's because of the water, the rocks are very, very slippery. People have gotten really, really hurt up there, and it's very hard to get people off the mountain.
It sounds like Ricketts Glen.
Yeah.
What's that?
So Ricketts Glen, it sounds very similar to what you're explaining. So for our local PA listeners, it's just up the road, actually. We'll go on a nice trip this summer, but it's full of waterfalls. It's gorgeous. But some of the hiking areas are at your own will, really, because
at your own risk,
like the rocks are slippery and there's foliage on it, and you get wet leaves, you're gonna slide like it's ice. So
certain trails, like all the trails are ranked of easiest to hardest and everything. And
right up there, I don't know if the trails are marked or not. I mean, there's a lot of campsites, but it's not like glamping where you have a bathroom to go in. You kind of have to walk in the woods and find a tree.
You gotta make a latrine.
And it is gorgeous up there, if anything. But if you are not careful, you can get lost. I was up there with a friend once, and he locked his keys in the car. And we had to, we did a very bad thing, and we got into a stranger's car, and I thought I was going to die. But, you got to do what you got to do, because there was no way we were getting off that mountain without somebody's assistance. And it is... crazy, but there's a lot of water. You know what they say about water?
Well, it draws spirits. That's why Bigfoot has to be there.
Oh, you should really have my mother here. She'll tell you some Bigfoot stories also.
She's got to come for a visit. We already talked to her on the phone.
All right, get her on the phone.
She's probably sleeping.
We'll plug her into the podcast.
And she
my mom's sleeping.
She met Alex on the phone. She thinks he's cute. So we'll use that to get her down here. And then she realized how he's not. So then my next location that is haunted, you have actually been to, the Shanley Hotel.
Yes.
So you can tell your stories when I'm done with my little thing here.
Okay.
Because after I'm done with this, you're taking control, you and Tom. So
Tom. Sorry.
Yeah, how's it going, Tom? Now, another haunted location is nestled in the foothills of the, now it's spelled Shawangunk, and we called your mom to confirm, and I put it in parentheses. It's pronounced Shawangum Mountains in the small town of Napanock, New York. See, you guys got some. I'm happy you go with the tradition of the Native Americans, but we have words like Schuylkill here. I'm like, yeah, it's pronounced Schuylkill. Like, so I get it. But it's called the Shanley Hotel. In 1845, Thomas Rich erected his Richard Hotel in Napanock. Sure, Main Street. The hotel changed owner several times. Now, a fire destroyed the original structure, but it was quickly rebuilt a few months later, and people were staying again. So James Shanley, which is why it's saying that now, he was an Irish immigrant. He purchased the hotel in 1906, and he added the barn-like addition onto the back, which becomes an inappropriate place later. So he added a bowling alley, a billiard room, and then a barber shop into that building. And then later, like I said, it functioned as a gentleman's quarters.
A barn of ill repute.
The second floor only. It was a bordello, or may I say a barndello. There you go. Thank you. It's supposed to be a spooky podcast. They also sold liquor there.
The ghosts there go moo.
Don't laugh at that, Tom, please.
Actually, Napanock is not very, I mean, it's country, but it's not. It's a village. There's a prison right there, a really big one. Is it state? Is it a state prison?
Sing Sing is around there, isn't it? Anyway, so they also sold liquor there, even during Prohibition, which is an interesting story. Now, James married Beatrice Rowley at the hotel in 1910, so 4 years after he bought it. Now, the Shanleys had ties to the Irish Mafia, and they were well known and respected in New York City, which apparently is lower New York, not upstate New York.
It's just New York down there.
We call it the city.
Yep.
The city.
If you're from New York and you're talking about New York City, you just call it the city.
Okay. Well, I'm not from around there, so. But so it's actually just 2 hours, apparently south of Napanock. Now, Beatrice is well known. Well, sorry, she was well known. She's dead. She was well known for wearing expensive clothes, jewelry, and perfume. So, again, connections to the mafia. And Shanley descendants have mentioned that the Shanleys were so well known that Times Square was actually almost named the Shanley Square, which I think that's kind of cool. I didn't know that. And they've also claimed that the gangs of New York is loosely based on their family. So, well. It's a well house exorcism. No, don't push it. This is supposed to be a spooky podcast.
You did that.
I don't know. I was just trying to get our name in there one more time.
You can be spooky and have...
We're spoopy. We're not spooky. I know that we're spoopy.
Spooky.
Beatrice also had many influential friends that weren't a part of the mafia, and that included the Roosevelts. She was very good friends with Eleanor, and even Thomas Edison stayed at the hotel. So when the Shanleys got in trouble for serving alcohol during Prohibition, the Roosevelts helped clear their name. So they could keep, selling booze and running a bordello.
Politician.
Yeah. Oh, Eleanor Roosevelt. You had some good quotes, but yeah. But today they actually have a hotel room called the Roosevelt Room in their honor. Thank you for letting us sell booze, Eleanor Roosevelt. But they were known for their elaborate parties and all that kind of stuff. However, there was lots of tragedy, which is why we're discussing this haunted hotel, not this, mafia den. The couple had 3 children, but none of them survived longer than a few months. Beatrice loved children and she dreamed of having a huge family. And so on January 6, 1912, she gave birth to their first daughter, Kathleen. She only lived for about 6 months before she passed. And then she would go on to give birth to 2 more children, James Shanley Jr., who lived 4.5 months, and William Shanley, who died at a little over 9 months. And so they say that her heartbroken self can still be seen walking through the hallways and whatnot of the Shanley Hotel. Many guests have witnessed a woman in a period dress, and she's just wandering around, sad and forlorn. And that's just the beginning of the tragedies, PJ. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Another tragedy was a little girl. Her name was Rosie, not our dog.
Yeah.
She was the 3-year-old daughter of the Shanley Hotel's resident barber. She fell down a nearby well and died. So they say she haunts the bordello area on the 2nd floor where the Gregors resided during the employment at the hotel. Which has me questioning when the bordello actually ran, because who lets a 3-year-old child sleep upstairs with the bordello? I don't know. I'm not judging, but I'm judging.
Well.
well.
Maybe they were very motherly and they protected her. I don't want to think what they maybe could have had.
Nope, stop talking. All right. So then in September of 1915, another tragedy happened. It was Dr. Walton Nelson Thayer Jr., what a name. He was backing his car out of the alley that ran between the home and the hotel, and his 5-year-old son, Walter Nelson Thayer III, jumped onto the running board, but he fell off. So the car backed over him, and he suffered severe head injuries. But he did not die from the incident. Okay, wow. I know. However, they believe he might be one of the boys, because they've heard the name Jonathan, but they think he might be one of the spirits that plays in the attic. Moving on, a sad, sad story. A local preacher's daughter, Helen, was only 9 years old when she was lured with the promise of a lollipop to a nearby swamp and murdered by Alfred Volkman, the son of a butcher. Volkman spent some time in Hudson Valley. So it's in Hudson Valley. See? Mm-hmm. Sing Sing prison. I wasn't wrong.
Sing Sing's in the Hudson Valley? Oh, because it's on the Hudson River.
I was right.
Well, it's still not really the Catskills.
Your face. It's close enough.
It is what
for
it is.
Someone who's from here.
It's New York. It's all the same.
It's New York and it's not the city, so.
It's not upstate, or it is upstate. I don't even know anymore.
It's okay.
It's mid-state. I don't
think any New Yorker really knows either.
It's north of us.
It's north of us. But anyway, so he did spend time in Sing Sing before he was executed, but both his spirit and the spirit of Helen are supposed to be frequent guests at the Shanley, which makes me sad, because if Helen was murdered by him and she was 9 and she's now stuck with him in the afterlife, that just makes me sad. But apparently she asked for a pink dress. The spirit did. And so they actually obliged. There is a pink dress hanging in the room where Beatrice's sister Esther died. So it's just in honor of Helen when she asked for her dress. So back to Beatrice's sister. Her name was Esther Rowley Frohman. She died of influenza while pregnant, another tragedy to hit the family. And her spirit resides in the room on the 2nd floor, where she took her last mortal breath. And the ghost of John Powers, one of Shanley's business partners, also haunts a room on the 2nd floor.
And then she took her first immortal breath. And the Highlander was born.
Here we are.
Princes. Oh, sorry. It's a good song. Other spirits, though, include a man named Frank, who was a bodyguard at the bordello. He met an untimely end after being shot in the hotel's pub. A ghost named Joe, and a man who whistles, makes frequent appearances. And actually, there's an EVP. You can hear him whistling as someone's trying to play a piano.
It's the most obnoxious ghost right there.
It sounds like Sophie when she just whistles all over the house. But there also are several children, including, obviously the workers, their kids there. There's a spirit of a former cook. And, of course, the cat named Sweet Thing. So what's really...
That is the name of the cat.
Sweet Thing, yeah.
Okay.
And so if you go on the Shanley Hotel website, and they have leaned into the haunted thing. It's called the Haunted Shanley website. It's ridiculous. But they actually have an entire evidence page. So yeah, it's the hauntedShanleyHotel.com/evidence. And they just have all of these YouTube links to EVPs. And there's a video of the ghost cat. We have all watched it. Is it not a cat?
It's a cat.
I mean, it's a cat. Is it a ghost cat?
Yes, PJ.
Or is it just really low resolution camera footage?
No, PJ. It is a ghost
where the cat
well,
just
being
looks
there,
super blurry.
There was never... I don't remember ever seeing, I almost said a real cat. A living cat.
Yeah.
Inside.
Cats teleport. Maybe you just caught it while it was
That's
walking
true.
forward.
That's true. They do.
It's a ghost, PJ. All right, all my listeners, you need to go on the hauntedShanleyHotel.com/evidence.
Or our Facebook page.
We're going to list, yeah. And it's the Shanley Hotel Ghost Cat Apparition. It is a cat. And it's a cat trying to go and get into some mischief. It's just trying to get into some mischief. It's doing some stuff. You can tell it's got his little butt shaking. It's like, I'm coming. Here I come.
Tails up straight in the air.
Oh, yeah.
It knows.
Yeah.
It knows it's being bad. So, but what I like about them is since they've leaned into their haunted aspect, and you can go there and like they'll say that it gets really, really crazy busy with ghosts for like a month, and then it gets dead for a while, and then it just all comes rearing back, kind of like our house.
Gets dead.
However, another cool thing about the Shanley Hotel is they get really, really clear EVPs. And so because of that, they have lots of examples on their website. So what I want to do now is I want to play some of that because you can hear the ghosts talking and it freaks me out. I love it. So the first one that I'm going to play, it's called Hear Me, Allie. Yeah, I'll just do that one more time. You ready? Almost could be hear me out too, but you can hear him talking there. Hear me.
Yeah.
Hear me, Allie.
I wonder if somebody that was there doing the EVPs was named Allie. Does it say?
Yeah, it's that the person who's talking is Allie. She's one of the investigators. Yeah, so she's like, "Hi, my name's Allie." That must have been happening before because it's in the video. It says like Allie is speaking. Yeah, so he's like, "Hear me, Allie." How'd you learn my name? Oh, right. I introduced myself. All right. So then this one is them asking, what was your job? And they have a response. So let me do that again so you can hear a little bit. Let me turn up a little bit. Cell block 7. Did you hear that? It's not coming over very well on my computer. There it was, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't buy that one at all.
Well, I do, PJ. So this one, though, you ready?
Okay.
Who's with us? It's Frank.
It's Frank.
It's Frank. Frank. Oh! How did you die?
A gunshot.
Oh my God. You heard that? Gunshot. Oh, I have chills. A gunshot. Who killed you? In the pub.
So, anything about that?
What tool were they using for that one?
It was very echoey.
Yeah.
It's almost like the echo was turned into the next sound or something. I don't know. It's weird.
It was cool. I liked that one. That one was cool.
And Frank is the guy who actually died.
Yeah.
So
because there's so many studies and videos of EVPs where, like, they will play the EVP with no captions under it, and you can't hear anything. And then they'll play the same thing but put a caption under it, and suddenly, oh, it's saying this. Mm-hmm. And then they'll change the caption and play it again. And it's like, oh, they're saying this. Like, EVPs and the human brain are so easy to manipulate because of that.
But when Carrie played hers for us, like, immediately, without her telling us what it said, you could hear it.
Indisputable. Yeah. The one that she got from Eastern State.
That last one, it was indisputable.
And, yeah, that last one.
And the alley one, too. Hear me.
I just want to know what tool they were using, because I've never heard anything like that before. Yeah. It was like, you remember those like big echo chambers?
Yeah, those are fun.
You could talk into.
We're talking into the kids' microphone ones. And the kids'
little microphones.
Yeah, the
plastic. Wait a minute, I wonder if
it's like the strong
have I ever seen anybody use one of those at a ghost hunt? That'd be so interesting. If you just put it there and you ask questions and like, that would be. Wow, I think I need to go to Walmart. And
Carrie has to go do some. She is the paranormal expert. So now you went to the Shanley Hotel and you said that, this is where you tell your story, because this is when you did your first amount of like real.
So I had a friend who still lived in Ellenville, and her aunt was married to one of the owners. His name was Sal, and he did pass away, and there's new owners now. He would have every now and again some fundraisers where it wasn't a lot of money. He would ask for anything, a donation to, and you can come in for the evening or the night and do some ghost hunting there and, walk around and explore. And I would go with my friend all the time, and it usually was just us and maybe a couple of other family members. And the first time I walked in there, it's very, I don't know if you ever walked into an old house and it's all wood. Not dark, it's light. The lights are on, it's happy, but it's dark at the same time.
Yeah.
Like an old it was a hotel, but like you ever walk into an old hotel and you feel like you're stepping back in time?
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's almost like there's a haze in it. Like when there's a movie and then like the door opens and it's like back in time and it has that weird feeling to it.
That dreamy look to it.
That's how it felt for me going every time I walked in there.
Yeah.
A lot of the original things are in there, the furniture and things like that. I have to say the little lobby, that's, it feels that way. But once you get upstairs to where the women of the night.
We like to say the bordello or the barndello.
Yeah, there you go. Were that's when it can get a little crazy. It was, I want to say 3 rooms, like a hotel where there was the rooms and then the little hallway. But it wasn't a hallway. It was a rotunda kind of thing.
Okay. And
there was a couch in there, and we would sit there to do a lot of the talking to the ghost or whatever you want to call it. Because all 3 rooms were right there. So we would just talk to whoever wanted to speak to us. The best story that I had, I wish I still had the recordings. I'm sure I do. I just don't know where. We were using the spirit box, and it's rolling through the stations like it usually does. But I keep on hearing what sounds like Morse code, and Morse code's like, I'm doing it completely wrong, but it's doing that. And I'm like, I look at my friend, I'm like, it sounds like Morse code. And she's just looking at me like, what? And I'm like, it sounds like Morse code. Doesn't it sound like Morse code? I'm just like looking at everybody. It's like, does anybody know Morse code?
The only person who doesn't know what this is. Or
like, does anybody know Morse code? And all of a sudden, there's a voice that comes on the spirit box, and it goes, Morse code? It's clear as day.
Oh, that's cool.
And we were like, what? Out of all the words it could say, it says that. I still don't know if it was Morse code, but it probably was, and I wish I knew Morse code.
Was it Morse code for, you gonna let me have some chicken?
Super hungry.
Are you going to eat that?
It was a male voice, so maybe they were asking for food.
I mean, named
we
it
were
the
upstairs
Barndello.
Where the women of the night were, so you never know. Somebody was asking for something to eat. And there were soldiers that were going there. I mean, it was quite an interesting experience. And then up in the attic room, there's always I still think they have it set up this way, where it's like a little circle of chairs, and there's tons of toys and balls. And I believe it's the little boy that's up there.
They have actually videos of that. Someone stayed in that room, and they didn't do anything.
No,
they
the
just
balls
said
just
hi.
move.
Yeah, well, the lights of one of the toys was like turning on and off.
Right, because they use a cat toy, right? The cat toy that when the cat would hit it, it
lights up. Yeah. So that's a video actually on their website too. You can watch it just on, and maybe it was on, I found it on Reddit. Sorry. They had a video that they took because they were they were staying there, and they posted it to Reddit.
Yeah, that room is a little eerie because when you first go in, visually it's eerie because you have this circle of chairs. So you're like, what is going on in here? What are we doing tonight? But then when you're playing with a child, and it's not, I never felt like there was anything malicious in there. The one woman of the night there is actually very playful. There's some videos I've seen online of her getting a little frisky.
Oh no!
With
my.
Yeah, with some of the men, and then the little girl Rosie, she comes through a lot when you're there. But it's mostly she's very shy. She kind of stays in the room, won't come out, won't ask you to go in there. There was one time that it was broad daylight, and I was on my way to the Walmart that's kind of right near there, and I like passing the Shanley. I don't like staying on the main route to go to Walmart. I like going a little bit, around, and because I love passing the Shanley because it's a beautiful building. And I'm driving to Walmart, and I'm like, bah, 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 and I see somebody walking along the side of the building, and then I look in my rearview mirror, and there's nobody there. So I turn around, there's nobody there. And I call my girlfriend. I'm like, I just saw somebody walking, and then they just vanished. She's like, that's actually something that happens. People see somebody walking outside, and they just vanish. So that was like, that gave me the chills because it was 1 minute they were there and the next minute they were that. Oh yeah, it was creepy. And then sometimes when you drive around the building, also you see the curtains. There's nobody. They just move because they really don't have anybody there during the day because everybody wants to come at night because everything's spooky at night,
paranormal stuff.
And you would see the curtains move. When Sal lived there, I believe one half of the hotel was where he actually lived, and the other half of the hotel was where he did the ghost hunts and everything. So he was never on that side unless they were doing something. But there was during the day, there's never anything there. In the back of the hotel is where the well is, and I know they covered it up. I believe at one point they might have put a camera down in the well. I don't know if they found anything. Across the street from the Shanley, there is a creepy building there, and I have no idea what that building is, and I need to find out. But
Google Earth.
I know. It's that road is very eerie to me, and I would love to see more photographs of that road during the Shanley's heyday. But there is a lot of water over there too. There's a lot of falls over there also. But
because it's upstate New York.
Of course. Of course. Upstate New York is like that area, Ellenville, Napanoch, Grainsville is a big place for people to come from the city on vacation during the summer.
Get out of the city.
Yep, out of the city, come up.
I'm learning the words, PJ. I'm going to be a native pretty soon. Shongum.
Yeah, but do you say, I'm going to go get a hero, I'm going to go get a sub, or am I going to go get a hoagie?
Oh,
hoagie.
Sorry, hoagie. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a sub.
Oh, I just want to read this in real time for our listener from Reddit, Phoenix0411.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
He replied to my response with,
yes, I'm sorry. I want to say, I'm sorry to Phoenix0411. Apparently, I have 2 Reddit names. I don't remember making Mrs. Mom Loved, but This Is Me Not Afraid is the one I've been using for Well House, but somehow I have 2 names, and it switched me over to Mrs. Mom Loved or whatever it is. I must have made that when I first created Reddit years ago to go on Catloaf. So
Catloaf is the best.
Listen, it got me through COVID. But anyway,
Cats on Glass is also a good one.
I actually posted a picture to Catloaf and people loved it. So I didn't get any of the updates people were commenting on my Reddit threads because I was on Mrs. Mom Loved. So anyway, I posted back to Phoenix and I apologize. So thank you for your comments. But anyway, Phoenix0411 said to PJ that Pluto is a planet.
Of course it is.
Thany you.
To which I replied, dwarf planet.
Ooh.
And they said, no, planet. Yeah, I can't find the exact. I think they said, no, PJ, planet. But
straight planet. If we allowed Pluto to be a planet, there'd be 4 more planets to have. You know what? Let them all be in our solar system. You know,
I can handle more planets.
That's right. I don't care if Pluto is smaller than our moon.
All caps, planet.
Thank you, Phoenix0411. I would appreciate it. So, for you, Carrie, though, you have the stories of the Shanley, which is awesome. But your mom has some crazy UFO stories, right? Yes. So, your mom shared a story. Now, is this the one that's going to be published, or is there a different one that's being published?
I believe this is the one that may be published. They're hoping that it's going to get in the book.
Okay. Because someone else actually told a story about seeing a big triangle floating UFO when they were waiting for their cousins to come off a bus, which is pretty cool.
My son, yes. So I grew up, it's Ellenville, New York, but it's really Grainsville, New York. It was one of those weird addresses where it was, you got your mail and it was Grainsville, but It was Ellenville.
It's like Millville and Iola.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Iola is right over there. We're beyond the post office. You drive through it when you come to our house. They have our zip code and everything. What happened is Millville is a dry town because it's a Quaker town. Mm-hmm. So Iola was invented so you could buy booze. Like I'm like 100. Yeah. Is that what it is? I'm like 100% sure. Like I don't care what anyone says. Like because that's what the Iola Hotel was. The hotel.
There was a bar
booze
out there.
Yep. Yeah. Now of course there's the beer depot though.
Millville is a dry town.
Yep. I hold. That's
but Iola, which is.
But it keeps our zip code.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing, I guess. So Ellenville is in the valley. I grew up in the mountain. You have to climb up, not really climb up, but you have to drive up the mountain. Yeah. And it's straight up. It's like 10 miles straight up the mountain. And, but on the other side of Ellenville in the valley is Pine Bush. And Pine Bush is the UFO capital of the Northeast, right?
Yeah, East Coast,
East Coast. So much so that they kind of go all hands in on the whole UFO thing. They have a diner called Cups and Saucers. They have
that is the cutest name ever. I don't.
They have the what's it? The UFO festival.
Yeah, they have like an annual like festival. I forget the exact name. They have a museum.
Yep, they have a museum. The museum is great. You go in, and I don't know if you ever heard the story of they were a young couple and they were in a convertible and they were like parking, right? And then I believe it was in the 60s. Don't quote me on that. And it was a couple that back then shouldn't have been together, but they should have been together. And a UFO came and took them. So when you go in the museum, they have a little mock-up of the car and these two people in there and the UFO coming down. And they have in there, they look like test tubes with big aliens in it. It's really, really cute. And then it's like any festival that you have ever gone to, they close the blocks down and they have UFO themed ice cream and cotton candy and balloons and toys, and people are walking around dressed up as aliens.
It's the snitch?
Albatwitch?
Albatwitch Festival.
I don't know what
it's like
is.
that.
The Albatwitch is a small Bigfoot.
A little 3-foot tall Bigfoot.
So it's a small foot?
Down in York.
It's a small
York,
foot.
PA.
And apple snitch is Dutch for apple snitcher.
Yeah, Albatwitch is PA Dutch.
I'm learning so much today. A little foot.
Not the movie. I'll break your heart.
Little dinosaur, little foot.
It'll break your heart.
Tree stars.
That was a very sad movie.
Let's move on. Okay, I don't want to cry. This is a spooky podcast.
Not a sad one.
So Pine Bush is also very close to the Stewart Air Force Base. Is that what it's called, honey?
Stewart International Airport?
Yes. And I believe there's a base right there.
Yeah, there is.
So there is a lot of military things going on nearby. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you want to... Well, they are UFOs if you don't know what it is, right? But they have these, I want to say tours, if you want to call them tours, where you can go with somebody and you can go up in the mountain and do UFO searches or hunts or views. And I don't think there's ever a day where they don't have something there in the sky.
Wow.
When you're climbing up that mountain, it is very... Well, there's Lookout Point where people have Lookout Point. Yeah. And then you're climbing up the mountain again on the other side of Ellenville into the valley, and you're heading into Pine Bush. The woods there are also very deep and dense. There was a story over there of a high schooler who was at a party, and his friends were leaving, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to go home?" And he was like, "No, I'm going to stay for a little while." And the last time that he was ever seen was at the party. He said he was going to walk home. But when he was walking home, there was a big snowstorm. And he never made it to work the next day. He never made it home. And they still have no idea what happened to him. It was like he just vanished.
It was the PukwuPJ. Changed my mind.
And that happened in the 80s. And every now and again on the local news, or even the news coming out of like the Today Show and the city and all that stuff, the family is still trying to find answers.
Yeah.
But the road that he was last seen on is just dense woods. And it was snowing. And upstate New York in the wintertime.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
Snow. And that mountain, I wish I could show you pictures of that mountain. That mountain's crazy. The woods, who knows what's happening up in those woods?
Well,
UFOs.
There's crones and stuff too, so you know.
There's random fires that happen up in them woods.
Yeah,
in the mountains.
She country.
I'm country.
You go down to creek.
My mother, we live on the other side of the valley. We have quite a few UFOs, and I'm going to actually read my mother's story. I'm going to read my mother's story word for word. I lived between Ellenville and Grainsville in Ulster Heights when I first moved up here from the city in 1967. My neighbors and husband's family, who had a summer home and retired up here, told me about the lights they would see rise up in the air for a few minutes only to return. I only saw it once, in 1967. Here are my encounters I spoke about. Back in the early 70s, when my two sons were very young, they slept in bunk beds. One morning, when they both woke up, they had the exact same mark on their thigh. It was red, and it was in the shape of an L. By the end of the day, they disappeared. The L, not my brothers.
They get marked L for loser? That's not nice. Jeez, aliens.
Thanks, aliens.
Humans.
Aw.
In the very early 80s, I was returning home from work with a neighbor who worked at the same hospital that I did. We had to go through back roads. This area is very wooded. I noticed a bright light in the sky. It was about 11:45 p.m. It seemed lower than the stars. I pointed it out to my friend, who was driving, and said, "What is that?" She slowed down the car, and all of a sudden it started to move very slowly, left to right. It then shot up in the sky at an unbelievable speed. My friend said, "Please tell me that's a shooting star." And I said, "Shooting stars go down, not up." We then continued home, which only took about 2 minutes. I couldn't wait to tell my husband about it. My husband is always waiting up for me because I didn't get home most times until midnight. But when I came home, he was in bed, sleeping. I tried to wake him up, but he wouldn't wake. The next day, when I saw my neighbor, I said to her, "Can you believe what we saw last night?" And she said, "I don't ever want to talk about it again." She was very upset, so we never did discuss it.
Wow.
In the mid-90s, somewhere between 1995 and 1998, I still worked at the hospital, but a day shift. One evening, I was watching TV, and my husband in the living room, and it was very late. He decided to go to bed, and said I should too, or I'm going to fall asleep in my clothes on the couch. I told him not yet. I would change and be in soon. Well, I must have fallen asleep for a while because I woke up and sat up quickly and looked down and saw I was still in my clothes. I was mad at myself for falling asleep in my clothes and turned my head and was ready to get up when I saw 3 small men, dressed weird and very ugly. They were looking at me, and I heard in my head, "Go back to sleep. We are too ugly for you to look at."
Darn right you are.
I did go back to sleep, just laying back on the couch. When I woke in the morning, I couldn't believe what happened, thinking it had to be a dream. I still had my clothes on and was on the couch. At this time, my neighbor called and asked me if I saw anything strange outside. I said no. She told me her 2 dogs, who sleep by her bed, every morning at the minute she gets out of bed, will jump and run to the door. And they didn't do so. She had to wake them and coach them to go out. It was still a little dark out, and when she opened the door, she saw 3 balls of light low in the sky between our houses, and then they just disappeared. It made me wonder about what just happened to me, and if it was a dream. I had felt so real. And then it says, I love to share these stories, but not sure about my name. My son also has seen a UFO 2 times, very low in the triangle shape. Triangles. Mm-hmm. During the 80s, when a lot of people did.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
That's why I was talking about earlier.
What? Oh, that, yeah.
The Hudson Valley sightings.
In the 80s, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Do you ever have like a memory just appear in your head? Mm-hmm. No, I saw that too.
Yeah, in 1984, there was a large triangle the size of a football field going over Interstate 84 to the point where traffic stopped.
What? Memory
like,
unlocked.
all the cars on the highway, both directions, stopped, and people just watched this thing.
That's crazy.
It is.
That's the same year, I think, that isn't that when that the Philadelphia Experiment movie was made, and that guy had his memory unlocked of like being a part of that? I think that was 1984. I think it was 84. Regardless, we weren't alive yet. That's probably why it popped in my head. Moving on.
No, I was 5. I remember that.
We were born in 87.
My mother also texted me and said, the 3 men I saw were very short and wore suits that were old and baggy, and they had on hats.
Men in Black.
But they were ugly. Are the Men in Black ugly?
We don't know.
Well, this is perspective, right? I mean, they were ugly to my mom.
Men in Black.
Depends on how they talked, if they had weird speech patterns or not.
And when my mom called and spoke, she said she lost time.
Yeah, she said she lost time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Message her and see if they if they had strange speech patterns. Well, not tonight.
Well, yeah, she said she heard
she
heard it
in her head. Yeah.
It was like they were talking to her.
Which is very much like an alien kind of.
Trying to look nice in their dapper suits, but
and I remember when this happened to my mother, because I was I'm a terrible sleeper, and I get up throughout the whole night, and I wake up very early in the morning, right, honey? Mm-hmm. And this morning, I slept through the whole night, and I slept in, and I remember waking up in the morning and go, Mom, I never woke up. I slept through the whole night. And she looks at me and she's like, excuse me, you slept through the whole night? Wow. My dad slept through the whole night, didn't wake up. Yeah, I slept through the whole night.
They were all experimented on.
Yeah, probably. That explains so much.
And that's why she is the way she is. We did it.
I am the way I am because of my
Time to go to a hypnotherapist.
Yep. Oh, the things you don't want to uncover that. You keep it deep. Keep it hidden.
No, it's a very interesting place where I grew up.
I love it. So now we have to talk to people in that area and get more stories, because there's more locations that I saw for that area. There was the Huguenot. Yeah. So look, I pronounced that correctly, and I didn't even talk about that. I just want to talk about the 2 locations that I have. So I think we have to do like another New York episode. And more UFOs. I want to hear more about the pyramid.
Oh, yes.
That was flying in the sky.
Triangle.
Totally
pyramid.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, also, there's a place in Brazil that is so active. You reminded me of it when you said, like, it was, like almost every night there's activity. Mm-hmm. There's a place in Brazil that's like that, too. It's so active that the Brazilian government dumps millions of dollars into researching this spot.
What?
Yeah. It's that frequent.
See, I used to not believe in UFOs and everything, and now I'm like, we're gonna die.
When you think about it, like I tell my nephew all the time, we are aliens too. Where do we live? We live in space. We live on a planet that's floating in the air. What makes you think that there's not anything else out there? You never know.
Well, I know. It's very small-minded for us to believe that we're the only intelligent life form in the entire,
Why
universe.
do they want to come to our planet? I don't know.
We have some really good subs or hoagies. Obviously.
Let's see what else.
Hot wings.
Is there a nuclear power plant in that area? Do you know?
Aren't they kind of like all over though for power?
Because wherever there's nuclear activity, there are aliens.
Really?
Like there are not aliens, but UFOs.
I have no idea.
No
clue.
Yeah, like when Fukushima happened, there were like tons of, and there's video evidence too. Like there's just these lights in the sky over the plant. And every time there's like a nuclear testing going off or whatever, like there are elevated reports of UFOs in that area.
I think that they have like amazing technology. They would be beyond nuclear anything.
Well, yeah, some people think that they're like trying to protect humanity. Like they were over Fukushima to like stop it from melting down and having a Chernobyl, type of thing going on there.
It's like when you have your kid in the bathroom and they turn the tub water on, the water is like flooding over. I'll fix it, Timmy. Like that's what they're doing. Yeah. Once again, you guys are just messing.
I turn around for 5 seconds.
Yeah, look what you did. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Carrie, for those stories, and thank you, Tom, for being here and laughing at PJ's terrible jokes.
Yes, thank you.
Shut up. Well, anyway, we now have our copy of Boop, which is exciting. It finally came in, and we were looking it over because we're all board gamers here, and Carrie and I noticed that Boop is a special version of Boop because it has a new cat you can add. It's a ghost cat named Spoopy, which I love. I'm like, they made this because they heard my podcast. It's been decided.
Spoopy scares the kitties.
He does. He scares the kitties away. He's a little ghost. Ooh. He goes woo.
He goes woo. Woo.
I'm spoopy. So we have that, and so the entire contest is going. Please make sure you follow the instructions on our Facebook, Instagram. We want to get lots of names in for that to give away a fun prize to somebody. Anything else you want to mention, PJ?
Review us on iTunes. Email us at gamesoverboard@gmail.com. Or visit us at gamesoverboard.com, where you can find a contact page. There are little profiles of all of us in the team, the About page. You can find our other podcasts. Yeah.
All of the fun.
Yes.
And again, Phoenix0411, thank you for commenting on Reddit, and thank you for believing in Pluto.
And I just saw that
appreciates you.
I just saw that you recommended a PA place, so we'll take a look into that too.
Thank you, Phoenix.
I also want to say, if anybody has any cool New York stories, please let us know, because I would love to find out more about New York.
No, Carrie is now our paranormal expert because Jackie, of course, is our medical expert. So we are building a community here.
If anyone wants me to do a deep dive into any famous places, since that's kind of been my thing, let me know, and I'll start working on one of those.
Phoenix 0411 could be our Pluto expert.
Ooh,
it's a planet.
It's a dwarf planet.
Phoenix
0411.
A really cool place that I've always wanted to
Phoenix,
go to.
message us. I would love to.
Phoenix.
Find us on Facebook.
Yeah, find us on Facebook.
I would love to. I used to really want to go to Fort Mifflin.
Fort Mifflin. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I did an episode on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Just recently. Don't forget, in April, Steve Gonzalez from TAPS is doing a book tour, and he'll be in Allentown. Allentown, right? Yeah. And we already have tickets there. So we're looking for people to sit with. So if you have tickets there too, let us know.
We don't want to be the weirdos sitting alone, so please come with us.
We're not going to be the weirdos.
We'll be wearing
we won't be the weirdos. We just don't want to be alone.
We'll have Well House Exorcism shirts, so you'll be able to pick us out pretty easily.
It's true. Steve is really nice. He was actually part of my ghost hunt once at Eastern State.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
You know everybody.
I don't know him.
He seems like a really good guy.
He's some great tattoos. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this boy is covered. But I think he used to be a cop.
Huh.
Tom, I'm really sorry that she has obviously a crush on Steve. How do you feel?
No, not Steve.
It's awkward.
Brutus.
We should probably end now. So anyway, thank you all for listening again. Actually, this is to all my Well House Exorcism fans. I am asking you guys to do something very, very important. I was on our Acast Insights, and Games Overboard, the podcast, is starting to get almost as many, well, not almost as many, but they're creeping up and getting
That's
uncomfortably close to my amount of numbers. And I don't like that. So share my podcast with your friends. Tell them to
share Games Overboard with your
not-
friends
We
too.
were just on Games Overboard.
You were.
Okay, you can listen to Tom and Carrie's episode, but then get off of Games Overboard.
Yeah, this week, after you're done with Well House, go over to Games Overboard because they're on
I'm
that
also-
episode.
But
too.
then still tell your friends, listen to mine and review me. And
Games
those
Overboard
numbers
is R-rated, by the way.
Oh,
Not-
100%.
Not this week's episode. We
I
were
was
very
good.
good. We were all very good with this week. But any other week,
And your
Terrible.
friend
Dan.
Dave?
Dan.
Dan was on
Dan.
it also.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
nice guy.
oh, last night
Yes.
this week,
week,
Dave.
Dave,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, very nice.
I thought you were talking about Dan and his potty mouth.
No. Dan
Dave
and
is
his potty
adorable.
mouth.
David. Anywho. So thank you all. Have a lovely week. And as always,
Think spooky thoughts.
woo.
Moo.
I want to meet a ghost cow.
Supposed to be a spooky podcast. In the dark shadow of the grove, on the margin of the brook, he beheld something huge, misshapen, black, and towering. It stirred not, but seemed gathered up in the gloom, like some gigantic monster ready to spring upon the traveler. Washington Irving, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.